So picture this. You're driving your EV on a busy, multi-lane highway.
Like right in the middle of rush hour traffic?
Yeah, exactly. Cars are just flying by. And suddenly your battery indicator hits 0% and your car just completely goes dark.
Which is, I mean, that's basically the ultimate nightmare scenario.
It really is. You're stranded. So what happens next?
Well, historically, you're in for a really bad day.
Right. But today, we are actually looking at a totally different solution. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone.
And today's topic is, honestly, it's super fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. We have a great stack of sources today. We're looking at a transcript from the EE Rescue podcast, specifically an episode about their brand new expansion into Atlanta.
Yeah, and we paired that with the official service website, plus the actual pricing sheets for Atlanta mobile EV charging.
And our mission today is really to deconstruct this massive paradigm shift in EV infrastructure. Because, mobile EV charging isn't just a roadside safety net anymore.
No, not at all. It's actually evolved into this massive technical and really an economic workaround for huge commercial logistics fleets.
Right. Fleets that are just trying to completely bypass the gridlock of building traditional charging stations.
Right.
So, okay, let's unpack this because we need to start with the geography.
Yeah, geography is everything here. Because they didn't just launch this service randomly everywhere, they specifically targeted Atlanta, Georgia.
Which, if you know Atlanta, you know it's not a small, tight city.
No, it's a sprawling metro area. And the service actually covers this massive 45-mile radius from downtown.
35 miles. I mean, that's huge.
It really is. We're talking about places like Marietta, Roswell, Alpharetta, Decatur.
Right. Kennesaw, Conyers, Douglasville, basically all the major satellite cities.
Exactly. And the reason this matters so much is because charging infrastructure in Atlanta is really, really concentrated.
Yeah, I was looking at a map of it, and it basically looks like a giant dartboard.
Oh, that's a really good way to describe it.
Right. Because you have this huge cluster of pins right in the bullseye. Downtown, the tech corridors, all the high-density areas.
Sure.
But out on the edges of the board, in those outer suburbs, you're really just hoping for a lucky throw. There are massive gaps.
And, I mean, that dartboard layout isn't an accident. It's just pure economics.
How so?
Well, when a company builds a fixed charging station, they're making a huge capital investment. They need high utilization rates to make their money back.
So they only build where the people already are.
Exactly. They aren't going to build a $1 million fast charger in the middle of nowhere. So range anxiety isn't just about your car's battery size. It's an infrastructure geometry problem.
An infrastructure geometry problem. I really like that framing.
Yeah, because if you're in that 45-mile radius and you take a weird detour, you might be 15 miles away from the nearest plug.
Which leaves you stranded. But wait, let me push back on this for a second.
Sure, go for it.
If my car dies on the side of the road, isn't that just what tow trucks are for? I mean, why do we need a specialized van to come out?
Oh, the mobile versus towing showdown. The sources really get into this, and it is eye-opening.
Yeah, because I read through it, and towing an EV sounds terrifying.
It's a mechanical nightmare. First of all, the wait times. A traditional tow truck can take 1 to 3 hours just to arrive.
3 hours. Sitting on the shoulder of I-285.
Yeah, with semi-trucks flying past you at 70 miles an hour, it's incredibly dangerous.
And the mobile charging vans.
Yeah.
What's their response time?
30 to 45 minutes.
Wow, okay, that's a massive difference. But it's not just the wait time, right? It's the actual towing process.
Right, you can't just hook an EV up and drag it. They're built on what's called a skateboard chassis.
Meaning the entire bottom of the car is basically just one giant battery.
Exactly. So if a tow driver tries to drag that car up the steep steel ramp of a flatbed and they bottom out,
they could physically crush the battery.
Puncture it, crush it, yeah. You're looking at destroying a $20,000 component.
That is wild. And doesn't mess up the motors, too?
Yeah, because EVs don't really have a true neutral gear like gas cars do. If you drag it, the motors act as generators.
And that generates heat, right?
Massive amounts of heat. It can completely fry the drivetrain.
So how do they normally tow them safely?
Well, you have to use the car's touchscreen to put it in a special tow mode.
But wait, if the battery is dead, the screen is dead.
Exactly. You can't even tell the car to let you tow it. The driver has to manually jack up the car on the side of the highway and put specialized skates under all 4 wheels.
Well, traffic is just roaring by. That sounds so sketchy.
It is. Whereas mobile charging, it's what they call a gentle level 2 charge. All 4 wheels stay safely on the ground.
Okay, that makes sense. But there's another thing with tow trucks. The convenience factor, or, well, the lack of it.
Oh, the destination problem.
Right, because the tow truck doesn't bring you home. It just drives you to a charging station.
Yeah, it solves the geographic problem and not the energy problem. You get dropped off, and you still have to plug in and wait to charge.
That sounds miserable. Mobile charging just fixes it right where you're sitting.
Exactly. But I know what you're probably thinking about the actual technology here.
Yeah, well, avoiding a tow truck sounds amazing. But it does raise a pretty big question for me. Is plugging my really expensive EV into a mobile roadside generator actually safe?
It's the biggest concern people have, and it's why the tech under the hood of these vans is so important to understand.
So what exactly are they using? The sources mentioned a specific unit.
Yeah, the EV Road Hero. Specifically, they use the RH9K model.
Okay, and what kind of power does that actually put out?
It outputs 9 kilowatts of continuous power, and it can peak at 11 kilowatts.
Which is pretty substantial for a mobile unit.
Very, and it runs on just a 6.1-gallon gas tank.
Wait, 6.1 gallons, that's tiny. How many cars can that rescue?
Between 5 and 10 full rescue sessions before they even need to refuel it.
Oh, wow, so it's super efficient. But what about the noise? Generators are usually incredibly loud.
Not this one. It operates at 64 decibels at 23 feet.
64 decibels, that's what, like a normal conversation?
Pretty much. You wouldn't even hear it over the highway traffic.
And it works with every car.
Virtually every EV. Tesla, Rivian, Ford, Porsche, Lucid. It uses standard J1772 connectors and comes with Tesla adapters.
Okay, but let's get into the deep technical stuff here, because the power quality is really the main focus of the sources.
Yes. The power quality is the absolute crux of this whole operation. The sources get really specific about 2 metrics: pure sine wave and a THD of under 3%.
THD. That stands for total harmonic distortion,
Right. And you have to understand this to see why the service actually works.
I was trying to think of an analogy for this. It's kind of like feeding a high-performance athlete.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Like you wouldn't feed an Olympic sprinter just, absolute junk food right before a race.
No, they'd get sick.
Right. They need highly calibrated nutrition to perform. And the EV's onboard computer is the same way. It expects highly calibrated power.
That is a great analogy. The power from a premium grid connection flows in a smooth sine wave. It's clean.
But a cheap generator from a hardware store.
That produces dirty power. It has high THD. Instead of a smooth wave, you get these jagged, violent spikes of electrical pressure.
Like a water hammer in plumbing.
Yes, exactly. And if you force that dirty power into an EV, the car's computer might completely reject it. Or worse, it accepts it, and those violent electrical spikes literally melt the delicate circuitry.
Which completely voids your warranty, I'm assuming.
Oh, 100%. But the EV Road Hero guarantees that THD is under 3%. It produces a pure sine wave.
So it's basically mimicking the high-quality power you'd get at home.
It mimics it perfectly, so perfectly, in fact, that the EV doesn't even know it's being charged by a gas generator on the side of I-285.
It just thinks it's plugged into a premium wall outlet.
Exactly. So the warranty fears are completely nullified. It is perfectly safe.
Okay, so the tech works safely. We know that. So what does this all mean for my wallet? Let's talk numbers.
The consumer economics here are fascinating.
Yeah.
Because it's all based on a tiered service model.
Right. I have the pricing sheet here. Let's break down the tiers. So the lowest one is the Quick Boost. That's $199.
And that gives you 30 minutes of charging.
Which yields about 30 to 40 miles of range.
Right. Then you have the standard charge. That's $329 for 60 minutes, which gets you roughly 80 to 100 miles.
The top tier is the extended charge. $429 for 90 minutes. That yields 130 to 160 miles.
Plus a few extra fees, like a $50 after-hours fee if you call between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m.
And a $2 per mile fee if you're stranded outside that 25-mile core radius.
Exactly. Now, on the surface, paying $199 for 30 miles of range sounds expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at that and thought, that's like a digital jerry can.
A digital jerry can.
You don't need a full tank. You just need enough to limp to the nearest charging oasis. It solves like 90% of emergencies.
But you have to look at the hidden math here. The price of time and peace of mind.
Walk me through the math.
Okay, let's compare that $199 quick boost to the baseline cost of a tow truck. Just to get the hookup on a flatbed, you're paying anywhere from $150 to $400.
Just to get the car and the truck.
Right. So right there, the upfront cost is basically the same.
Yeah.
But the tow truck has massive hidden costs.
It's hours of your life you lose.
Exactly. You wait 3 hours for the tow, you ride in the truck, they drop you at a public charger, and then you have to pay to charge your car and wait another hour.
It kills your entire day.
Yeah.
Huh.
How much is 4 hours of your time worth? The mobile unit fundamentally changes that valuation.
Yeah.
You pay the $199, they arrive in 30 minutes, they charge you up, and you drive home.
So it's not just a premium service. It's actually just highly economical when you factor in time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that makes perfect sense for a consumer. Supplying a digital jerry can to a stranded commuter is great. But what if you're not just one driver? What if you're responsible for 50 delivery vans?
Oh, man. This is where the story shifts from B2C to B2B.
Yeah, the transition from consumer roadside rescue to logistics and fleet management. The sources really pivot hard into this.
They do, and it uncovers this massive, basically untalked about industry hurdle.
Because Atlanta Mobile EV Charging isn't just targeting stranded moms in suburbs. They're going after delivery fleets, rideshare companies, corporate vehicle pools, rental car companies.
The whole Atlanta logistics hub.
Right. But, I mean, wait. Is it actually practical for a corporate delivery fleet to rely on gas-powered mobile chargers rather than just pouring the concrete and building their own charging stations?
That is the big question, and the answer is surprisingly yes, because installing charging infrastructure is a nightmare.
I mean, I know construction is slow, but is it really that bad?
It's a massive, massive construction project. We're talking permits, heavy electrical trenching, massive capital expense, and incredibly long timelines.
So if I buy 50 EV delivery vans for my company today, I can't just plug them in.
No, absolutely not. Your local grid probably can't even support that kind of power draw all at once. You might have to wait a year just for the city to upgrade the transformers near your lot.
A year. So my vans just sit there.
Basically. And when you do get approval, you have to tear up your entire parking lot to lay the high voltage lines.
So your lot is a construction zone for months.
Right. For a logistics company, downtime is the ultimate enemy. A fleet manager wants those vehicles out delivering packages, not sitting in a depot waiting on city permits.
So that's where the mobile solution comes in.
Exactly. Atlanta Mobile EV Charging just drives the energy directly to the depot or the dirt lot or wherever the vans are parked.
On a daily or weekly schedule?
Yeah, mostly overnight. And the ROI for this is incredible because of how it shifts the company's accounting.
Oh, this is the CapEx versus OpEx thing, right?
Exactly. Building your own chargers is a massive capital expense, or CapEx. It's a huge upfront investment.
But hiring the mobile charging vans?
That is an operational expense, or OpEx. It's a predictable monthly service fee. Plus, the sources mentioned they offer volume discounts for recurring contracts.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because a service that was originally designed just for, like, highway emergencies has completely morphed into a daily operational backbone for these logistics companies.
It allows them to deploy EVs immediately without the infrastructure lag.
That's brilliant. But, it made me wonder, delivering this level of service across a massive metro like Atlanta requires serious logistics of its own.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, how is this company even structured to pull this off? They have to manage stranded consumers and commercial fleet schedules all at the same time.
Right. And to understand that, we have to look at the EE Rescue Network.
Okay, the hub and spoke model.
Yeah, it's a really smart franchise-style vendor model.
So how does it break down? Because there are basically two different companies involved here.
Right. At the top, you have EE Rescue. They are the national network. They handle the dispatch software, the overarching brand, the marketing, the whole ecosystem.
And they supply the E-Road Hero hardware.
Exactly. But the actual boots on the ground in Atlanta?
That's a local vendor called Electric Vehicle Serviceability.
Right. And they operate under the brand name Atlanta Mobile EV Charging.
So why do it this way? Why doesn't the national company just hire their own drivers?
Because local road knowledge is absolutely crucial for roadside assistance.
Like knowing the traffic patterns.
Exactly. The local guys know that I-285 is going to be a parking lot at 5 p.m., so they know which back roads to take to get to the stranded driver in 30 minutes. A national dispatcher in another state wouldn't know that.
It makes total sense. But what does the local vendor get out of it? Why not just start their own company and keep all the profits?
That brings us to the trust barrier. If you're an entrepreneur and you buy a van and a generator and you try to sell mobile EV charging,
people are going to be super skeptical.
Right. EV owners are terrified of dirty power ruining their cars. The podcast actually touched on this. They said it takes about 2 years of grinding just to build enough trust for people to let you plug into their vehicles.
2 years is a long time to bleed cash waiting for customers.
Exactly. Most startups fail in that window. But by joining the e-Rescue network, the local vendor gets day one credibility.
Because the network has already proven that their EV Road Hero units produce safe, pure sine wave power.
Right. The entrepreneur doesn't have to convince anyone the tech works. They just have to focus on service delivery.
And this model is scaling fast, isn't it?
Very fast. They're already active in Sacramento, Portland, Seattle, Tacoma, Vancouver, Washington, and obviously now Atlanta.
And I saw they're actively polling communities for the next expansion. Yeah. Places like Denver, Las Vegas, and Phoenix.
Yep. It's a highly repeatable business model.
So, okay, let's zoom out for a second.
Yeah.
What happens to the EV market when this network is fully national?
It's going to change everything.
It really is. I mean, just to recap the journey we've been on today, we started out looking at stranded drivers being saved by pure sine wave generators.
Right. Avoiding the horrors of flatbed towing.
Exactly. And then we saw how that exact same technology allows entire logistics fleets to just completely bypass multi-year construction headaches.
Shifting from CapEx to OpEx.
Right.
Yeah.
Through mobile charging. It's incredible. But, before we wrap up, I think there's a bigger philosophical question here.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to leave everyone with a final thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
For the last century, our entire concept of fueling up a vehicle meant going to a fixed location.
Right. You drive to the gas station.
Exactly. And the assumption has been that charging an EV will be exactly the same. You drive to the charging
You
station.
should just swap the gas pump for a plug.
Right. But if these mobile EV rescue networks become as ubiquitous as tow trucks, and if fleet charging comes directly to the depot every night, are we actually watching the death of the station itself? What happens to the entire EV revolution when the grid is no longer something you have to drive to, but something that drives to you?
That completely flips the infrastructure model on its head.
Uh,
It's no longer a real estate play, it's a logistics play.
exactly.
That's a lot to think about. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. As always, keep questioning the world around you and keep learning.
See you next time.